Close your eyes and picture this. The blazing Egyptian sun, soldiers digging in the sand during Napoleon's campaign in 1799. Suddenly, their shovels hit something solid. At first, it looked like just another slab of stone, dark, heavy, ordinary. But when they brushed away the dust, strange inscriptions appeared, symbols, lines, and letters carved deep into its surface. What they didn't know at that moment was that this single piece of stone would change history forever. This was no ordinary rock. It carried within it a message written over 2,000 years ago, a message that nobody could read. For centuries, Egyptian hieroglyphs had been a mystery, a silent language carved into temples and tombs. Kings and queens were buried with secrets that no one could unlock. But this stone, the Egypt stone, later called the Rosetta Stone, was about to give humanity the key. And once unlocked, it would make the silent voices of ancient Egypt speak again. Welcome to one of the most fascinating journeys of history and discovery. Today, we're not just talking about an old artifact, we're talking about the bridge that reconnected us to a civilization that flourished thousands of years ago. The Egypt stone is famous, yes, but why? Because it solved a riddle that had baffled scholars for centuries. Imagine entire monuments, pyramids, and scrolls covered in writing, but nobody could understand a single word. It was like standing inside the Library of Alexandria with all the books in front of you. But every page was in a code you couldn't read. For more than 1,000 years, the Egyptian language had been lost. And then came this one discovery, a single stone with the same text repeated in 3 scripts: Greek, Demotic, and hieroglyphs. The moment scholars realized this, they knew they had in their hands the greatest clue in linguistic history. In this session, we're going to break down exactly how experts solved its mystery, step by step. From the moment it was found, to the rivalry between scholars, to the brilliant final breakthrough, we'll walk through the twists and turns of a detective story that changed archaeology forever. So, let's begin the journey back into the sands of time. Part 1. The discovery of the stone. In 1799, Napoleon's soldiers, while strengthening a fort in the town of Rosetta, unearthed a black stone covered with inscriptions. This discovery was accidental. They weren't searching for treasure or knowledge, just building military defenses. The stone was broken, but what remained was extraordinary. 3 bands of text carved into it. It was transported to Cairo, and soon scholars realized this could be the greatest archaeological find of the century. Part 2. The puzzle of 3 scripts. The stone carried the same decree written in 3 scripts: Greek, Demotic, and hieroglyphs. Greek was widely understood, Demotic partly known, but hieroglyphs were a mystery. Scholars quickly understood. This stone was essentially a bilingual or trilingual dictionary. It offered the first real chance to compare known language with an unknown one. Part 3. The race among scholars. The Napoleonic Wars created rivalry between Britain and France, and this rivalry extended to who would solve the stone first. When the British defeated the French in Egypt, the stone was seized and taken to London. But scholars from both nations were determined to unlock its meaning. This sparked a competition of intellect and persistence. Part 4. Thomas Young's early progress. Thomas Young, a brilliant British polymath, took on the stone in the early 1800s. He noticed repeated patterns inside cartouches, oval shapes enclosing hieroglyphs, which seemed to represent royal names. He proved that hieroglyphs weren't just symbolic pictures, but also had phonetic value. His research laid crucial groundwork, but the full code still resisted complete translation. Part 5. Champollion's breakthrough. Jean-François Champollion, a French scholar with deep knowledge of languages including Coptic, pushed the research further. In 1822, after comparing Greek names with cartouches, he realized hieroglyphs represented both sounds and meanings. He successfully spelled out names like Cleopatra and Ptolemy. This was the turning point. For the first time in over a millennium, hieroglyphs could be read. Part 6. The struggles and sacrifices. The decoding process wasn't easy. It took decades of trial, error, and frustration. Champollion dedicated his life to it, even facing criticism and doubt from peers. His health deteriorated from overwork, and he died young at 41, just after publishing his discoveries. His sacrifice is a reminder that great breakthroughs often demand personal costs. Part 7. Opening the door to ancient Egypt. Once hieroglyphs could be read, scholars returned to Egypt with new eyes. Walls of temples and tombs, silent for centuries, now revealed prayers, royal decrees, myths, and historical events. Daily life of Egyptians, farming, medicine, trade, love, humor, became visible through inscriptions. The entire civilization suddenly came alive through its own words. Part 8. Controversies and cultural debates. The Rosetta Stone today lies in the British Museum, but its presence there is controversial. Egypt has repeatedly demanded its return, calling it part of their national heritage. The debate highlights bigger issues in archaeology. Who owns history, the discoverers or the descendants? This adds another layer of meaning. The stone is not just about ancient mystery, but also about modern identity and cultural pride. Part 9. The legacy of the Egypt stone. The Rosetta Stone transformed linguistics and archaeology forever. It proved that even the most complex mysteries can be solved with patience and collaboration. It connected modern humanity to one of the greatest civilizations in history. Today, millions visit the stone, not just to see an artifact, but to witness the very key that unlocked a lost language. Its legacy continues to inspire scholars, reminding us of the power of human curiosity. And so, the Egypt stone was not just decoded, it was unlocked. With its secrets revealed, the silent temples and monuments of Egypt finally found their voice. Hieroglyphs that once looked like indecipherable art suddenly became words, prayers, decrees, even everyday records of ancient lives. Think about what that means. Without this discovery, we might never have understood how the Egyptians built their pyramids, honored their gods, or ruled their kingdoms. We might never have known the names of their great pharaohs or the details of their daily lives. All of that knowledge was trapped, waiting, until the stone gave us the key. Today, when people walk through the British Museum and stand before the Rosetta Stone, they're not just looking at a block of rock. They're looking at a turning point in human history, a moment when silence became language, when mystery became knowledge. And that is the true power of the Egypt stone. It reminds us that no mystery is unsolvable, no language is permanently lost, and no civilization is ever truly silent if we dare to listen and decode.